Hello, welcome to the tutorial. We're going to be using Onshape and we're going to sign in and we're going to design and make a simple bridge. This is a step-by-step tutorial. You can use as much or as little as you want of it as we move forward. It's just to help you make some rapid progress through this last session. And if you have better ideas and you want to go a different direction with it, that's absolutely fine. So we're going to sign in using Microsoft, but just before I do that, I'll just come out of full screen mode and we'll just have a look if we can so that we can make sure that you are on the correct signing in page for the school. Okay, so you need to make sure that's the correct signing in page, and then you must sign in with Microsoft if you haven't done so already. I'll sign in now. And I'll just remember that, and I will make it back full screen again, and then hopefully it will load in and we'll be ready. Now I am using a mouse. It's got a middle roller ball and it's got some other things in here, and the bridge we're going to be making, I've made a sample one here, so you can see the kind of thing we're going to make. I might not make it exactly the same, but you'll get the general idea. Here I've got a drawing, so this is it in isometric and orthographic views, and we've got an assembly here, this assembly, which shows it with everything. So we'll break it down a little bit. We'll do it kind of in chunks, but this is what we're going to do. Now, in the part studio, this is the part studio. So this is the bits I actually made and have duplicated to make the assembly. So you can see the assembly is what we're actually kind of aiming for, but these are the bits that I needed to be able to make it happen. So I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, okay, so I'm going to start a brand new file then. So let's go to the menu and close this document, and we will create a new document. I will call it bridge T1. Okay, you can call it whatever you need to call it. Okay, that should open up for us. Just give it a second. Okay, so here's our basic page. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to set it up so that we've got the right kind of dimensions and everything sorted out inside here, and we're ready to work. So we've got our version history. We've got lots of options down here, but what we want to do is go into the workspace units, okay? And inside here, we want to change it from inches, which we don't really use very much anymore in the UK. We could go to meters. Which is probably the one we want to use, as the bridge is going to be about 5 meters long. So we want to be using a much larger scale than we normally would. Okay, so we're going to go to meters, inch squared, we don't want that either. So we'll go meters squared, and we can leave everything else as it is. All right, so you can go and do that. It's just on left click, and I'm going to click tick up there to make sure it's happened. So we don't need any of this stuff down here. We can get rid of that, but up here, that's where it is with that 3 line icon and workspace units. And then you're ready to start going. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make essentially a curve or a curved shape so that we can extrude that and make the bed, the footfall place for the bridge. So we're going to make it curved. So I'm going to do that on the front of this. Now you can do it in lots of different ways. We could use many of these different tools that we've learned about this morning. But actually what we want to do is go to the front here, and we're going to make a new sketch. Okay, we can call it sketch 1. We don't need to rename it at the moment, so we'll just click tick. And I'm going to go and have a look at it from this view. So I should see now that I'm on sketch 1. Let's just go into that, make sure that's open. So there's sketch 1, and that's what I'm going to be drawing on. So I'm going to leave that open. Sorry, I'm not going to click the tick button. And you can see that my drawing tools are up here, and they're ready to be drawn. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to make sure that I've got something that's centralized in my image. So remember, you can pause this anytime you like to go and do the bits that I've done so far. So I'm going to grab hold of the line tool, and I'm going to draw a line out. Now, it doesn't matter how far I go. There's no way I can draw it large enough. I could zoom out and do it, but it's actually much easier if I just click wherever, just once with the left click, and then I can type in 5. Now, remember, we've set it to meters already. So 500 will be 5 meters. Now, I've gone from the middle of the scene, so I don't want 5 meters. I actually want 2.5. 2.5 meters, because then I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. So that gives me a line that's 2.5 meters long. You can see the scale now. So if I just press escape, it gets me out of that tool. You can see the scale compared to the size of our scene here. All right, and that's exactly what we want. It's absolutely fine. So we want the same going the opposite direction as well. Okay, so we can do that without any problem at all. So I'm going to click and draw. Now I'm going to do one going upwards, and it doesn't matter how big this one is, but the one going upwards, I'm going to draw, and I will make that, let's make it let's make it, escape, Control Z. I'm not sure. I think I pressed a button there, so I'll just do it again. So I'll just draw it up, and then I've clicked, and then I want 2 meters up. So I'm going to make that 2 meters up. That gives me the kind of the maximum height that I want my bridge to be. I press escape to remove or to finish that. And then going this way, again, I'm going to click, and I think I've got to be careful not to move the mouse afterwards. And then I can go 2.5 meters in that direction. And that gives me the dimensions I need. So press escape on the keyboard, and I'm back here, and I've got everything I need. So that 2 meters, that seems quite high, but it gives me a good scale to work to. Now, each one of those lines is going to be helpful to me, but I'm not going to use it as part of the footbridge. So I want to turn them into construction lines. So I'm going to select them just like that. So just left click to select, and then I'm going to convert them to construction lines. That means that they're not going to be used as part of the profile of a shape, but they're quite useful for me as I move through my design. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to make a design which is going to come up and meet halfway here. All right, it's going to be a curved line. So I'm going to use this up here, this spline tool. And if you can't see the spline tool, make sure you select the right one down here. With the spline tool selected, I'm going to draw from the start of this line up so it curves. You can see I've still got this, this construction line going on at the moment. I'm going to get rid of that in a second. So I'm going to curve that up. I'm going to make sure it's pretty flat by the time it gets to the middle at the top here. Okay, so I can see that's going to be under 1 meter tall from the base, and I'm just going to press escape to finish that line. Okay, so that's going to be from the base there. Oh, Control Z. I didn't mean to do that. Let me just do it again. And this time I think I'll draw it a little bit wider. Now you can see I've switched off the construction line there now. So that's a bit better anyway. So let's get it up to about halfway up that line. I'm just going to drag it down. I want it to be flat in the middle there is what I'm looking for. And enter to finish that. Oh, sorry, escape to finish that. There we go. So escape to finish it. And I've got my first line drawn. Now I can mirror that over the other side as well, which I'm going to do in a second. So pressing escape, make sure I've not got that selected anymore. I'm going to select that line, and I want to mirror it over to the other side. So we've got this mirror tool here. So if I click on it, it says select the mirror line. So there's the mirror line. Okay, so now you know why I drew that construction line in the middle, right? Because it helps me to do that sort of thing. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to keep going with this sketch at the moment. So I'm just going to press escape one more time to get out of that tool. And this time I'm going to click with the left click on both of these lines. I don't have to hold anything else down. It's just 2 left clicks. That's picked up those 2 lines. And I'm going to copy those and move them up. Okay, so I could do a linear pattern or something, but I should be able to just copy the sketch entities and then paste them. And it's going to move them. Now I've got complete control with this handle over here about what I want to do. You can see it's going to snap to it. So I can do that. Now I just need to move my screen around a little bit. With the middle, that was the middle button being pressed to move the screen, to pan across. And I'm going to move that down so it's going to make a kind of platform kind of width there. All right, once I'm happy with it, you can see it's indicating you need to click the left click to finish with this moving tool. So I'm going to do that. So I click and it's done. Now I need to join this. I need to make this a completed shape. Okay, so I'm going to join these 2 bits together, and that's pretty much going to finish us off. So go one there, and over the other side, again using the middle button to pan across and rollerball to zoom in. It makes it much easier to do, and closing those 2 shapes off. If I accidentally moved over the outside edge of something, I could use the trim tool to cut away the excess, and it would still leave me with the bits in the middle, okay, in case you need it. So I'm happy with that sketch. I'm going to click tick there so that I'm out of that sketch and I've got my tools back to do 3 dimensions. Let's zoom out. So I'm going to use my view cube over here. I'm going to click on the top corner to get my isometric view back. You see our initial planes down there are really small down there. Remember, if we want to select them, we can select them here as well. So I'm going to make this three-dimensional. So to make it three-dimensional, I'm going to do an extrude. Okay. Now the extruder's got some very specific settings to make this work. I want to intersect it. Oh, actually, no, that's incorrect. Sorry, ignore me. I'm going to make a new part. So I want it to be on new part, and I want it to be symmetrical of the shape. And I should be able to click on the shape and extrude it. You can see it goes both sides of the line. That's very deliberate. So it's going to be evenly placed both sides of the line. And you can see my depth dimensions there. It says 1 meter, 2 meters. I reckon about 1.5 meters wide is about where we want to go with this design. So that's what I'm going to do there. All right, and I'm going to click tick, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so I've got 1.5 meters wide. We're going to take a break there. I'm going to finish this tutorial. I'm going to start a new one in a second, but we've done pretty well so far. So remember, we can look at different views. We're happy with that. It's pretty solid. We can now see an extrude over here, and we can see our first part down here, which is just what we needed to see. All right.